I remember stalking him, he was chasing me, I ran.
We tried to call him and stuff and he had literally vanished.
He was fighting a few demons.
Each one, got to teach one. Let's learn from one another. Let's go.
Igama lami nguLunga Ndlovu. I was born in Mlazi, KZN. 19-year-old beautiful woman gave birth to me, and my father, also of similar age, was a Tegwin Nayo Mlazi. My name actually kind of signifies and covers a little brief glimpse into how I came about. So when she was sitting in the hospital after giving birth to me, she held me in her arms and she said a little prayer to God, Wati Kuzolunga. Because she was worried and thinking, what am I gonna do now to take care of this beautiful child that God has blessed me with while I'm 19 years old? So she said a prayer of hope, prayer Wati Lunga. And then she gave me the name Lunga. My father was an alcoholic. I only know this term now as a grown-up, but as a young child, all I knew was that every time was what he was drinking. So Baba, every time I was on I get so excited and happy. Like I have little memories of it. And Lakona was convenient because like Lakona was just a walk away from Ekaya. And growing up with my uncles, because I grew up Kamama, like every other child who's born to teenage parents. So I knew my grandmother as Umama and I knew my grandfather as Ubaba. I was about, as young as I remember, 5, 6, when I was then being informed that, no, this is not your brother, it's your uncle. When I started being told that this is not your mother, it's your grandmother. I'm like, oh, so then my uncles, who I thought were my brothers, they've got their own mother and father. My uncles, they would tease me. You know, or at that time, I didn't know all these things. All I knew and all I wanted was to see my dad and be with him all the time. Walking to go and see him was something I looked forward to. My grandfather had a rule, which was 6 p.m. and I'll be at Ndlovu and I'll try and create stories for them to call my grandfather and say, no, Lunga, or Lunga is not feeling too good in the or something, just for me to spend the night there. And as I do this, my dad would go in and out of the house, and the jokes started continuing on with my uncles and people around about my father, his drinking habits. And when I started going to school and seeing other kids having their dads come through for sports days or their dads come through for something like this, I started asking myself questions. Why don't I have that? So my father's father used to come to my cricket games. Because I didn't understand why is it that seems not to have the time for me, or seems to be okay not having the time for me. Not knowing, but questioning if ngiphelele yini khona la ngishoda khona, why is it that kukanjena. Never understood why he never called me. I never understood why he wouldn't come and fetch me. I left KZN. At the time, I'm 10 years old. I don't understand. I'm thinking I'm going to visit Polokwane, but I'm staying there. I've always wanted to do that, but I don't think I was ready. I don't think I wanted to. I'm still trying to reach out to this guy who's called my dad and try and connect with him. And I was very unhappy, but I learned how to pretend to be happy. I learned how to show face. I learned when they said, Lunga's a good boy, Lunga, he listens, Lunga, uyahlonipha, Lunga, uyakwazi ukuthi uyathumeka. I'm like, oh, okay, so I kept those things going. I became a master manipulator over time. My stepdad, he's the man who had a choice, and he made a choice to love me and accept me and be a father to me. I'll always love and cherish him for that. He gave me an opportunity to, say I love you, Papa, and have that being said to me. He noticed me. He saw me. I went to an Afrikaans high school, so there was always a clash between, the black kids and the white kids, and also with teachers too. My mom asked me to go to the office and go and get, I think we're going to change Nyana from the previous term or the previous month of school fees. But Lunga then went there and he made it about himself. I wanted to get that money. And we started a huge fight with the principal. And then, threw the black card out there very hard and very aggressively. I got so angry and I wanted to square up with this man. I wanted to show him who I am, what I want. So my friend and I went to vandalize his car. We picked it up, we painted on it, we scratched it, we drew on it, we actually wanted to set it on fire. But doing all of this, I was born While I was waiting for my mother to come fetch me, I see a policeman walks in. Okay, I don't pay no mind to him. And then they call me. Now, my eyes open up. I'm being taken. I'm being arrested. The crime that one was charged with was vandalism. Luckily, my mother was there. She assisted us in getting out of all of that mess. But then at the same year, I got expelled from the school. It was my second time failing. So I used to leave home dressed up in uniform, but never making it to class. After I got suspended, I remember I stole the car. In my mind, I'm thinking, time I saw the cover shop. When he came back at 4 a.m., the hired car is parked in the parking spot where we pushed out the car. I'm like, oh, he's back. And I ran. I remember stalking him, he was chasing me. I tried to run to my uncle. I'm like, yo, uncle, that man crazy. He's trying to kill me. Help me. I was always playing victim. My mom came to convince me to come back. And I came back and this man gave me the biggest whipping of my life. For me, that felt like the biggest act of love I've ever seen for him. Sounds strange and twisted, I know, but he matched the pain I've been feeling inside. That void I've been feeling inside, he matched it. And he was right. Whatever was inside was gonna come out, and it did. And he said, sit down. I'm gonna talk now. And he spoke to me, and I could see in his eyes was also tearing like I am now. He's saying that what he done was the most painful thing he's ever done. It took a lot from him. And he done it because he loves me. And he done it because he could see now there's something is happening that he doesn't understand. And a man needs to understand that it comes a point in time when you need to change your life. You are not the things that you have done. I was hoping and praying that I can fix what was done to me.
So that's when I noticed the change, actually.
Let's learn from one another. Let's go. Let's learn from one another. Let's go.
2003, I started my new life at St. Mark's College. That's where I found Christ. That's where I got born again, and I thought that was one way for me to find my identity. It helped me because I started performing well at school. I started getting A's, which I'd never seen before in my report. The support structure was amazing in that school too.
He was actually the president of the school, right? So he was the leadership skills were quite good at that time. I think I was in grade 11 and he was in grade 12. So I used to look up to him, and I think most of the school actually did, because he was quite a leader and very charismatic.
I was the chairperson of the sports committee. I joined the debate team and became the head boy of the school.
We had a church at school, so he was also very deeply spiritual.
So now I've passed matric and now moved to varsity, but now I found myself in Pretoria. I felt lonely and scared, and I found myself in spaces where now my honesty was not well received in church and other spaces because I needed to be a certain type of person to acquire the love of my Savior. I felt like I'm an outcast. As I went on now, I just wanted to laugh and be happy, and I knew what made me laugh and made me happy. Now I'm in Pretoria, I'm all by myself, started smoking, started getting, high.
Well, they left high school before us, and then I reconnected with him when I came to varsity in Pretoria. He invited me to his flat, so I went there. So that's when I noticed the change, actually. Maybe something say longer was a user that could not be alcohol or just smoking cigarettes.
That kind of led me to make other friends and look for other things in other spaces. I won't even lie about how I got involved with hard drugs. It came about as I saw the cool people, cutting lines, and I saw the cool people popping pills, and I wanted to be them. I wanted to be with them. It's cool. I want to party. And I touched it and I cut the first line. All my insecurities, all my shortcomings, all those things disappeared. Whether I'm light or not light, it all vanished, and I wanted that more and more.
Then it was quite prevalent and clear there is something that he must be using. Like, would be sitting somewhere and then he would disappear and then come back in a different mood, like more charged up. So he had a lot of disappearing acts. So that's when I was like, no, this person must be on something.
Lunga is someone that was challenged with drug addiction. He was fighting a few demons, I think, whether that was issues about having a dad that he didn't necessarily grow up with.
I didn't care for myself much, for my safety and my well-being, health-wise and any other way. I remember I thought it would be funny to burn myself with a cigarette, but it didn't feel like self-harm at the time. It felt like it felt cool. I had unhealthy sexual relations, even with myself.
He would have sex and not remember, and he would interact with people specifically for that. When it started happening, I didn't want to be part of it. I'm so glad he didn't get sick.
When drugs kind of really started messing my life up was when I couldn't do the normal, ordinary tasks that a normal human being should be able to do. At this time, in between this time, my daughter, my firstborn child was born. I was hoping and praying that I can fix what was done to me. Praying that, God, please teach me how to love this person. Please, oh God, I'm praying that I do not do what my father has done. And I pray that she may see me as sufficient for her.
I think the absence of a father to Lunga specifically played a role where he had to be present as a man himself, because I think he ended up being not present to his kids at some point. There was a long time where he wasn't the dad that he didn't get as well.
Me staying in or going into my drugs, that feeling I felt, because when I'm high, I don't have doubts, I don't have insecurities, I don't think of my dad and how I'm not with my kids. Things got really dark, so much that even my mother chased me away from home, saying that love ends. And now I'm threatening the safety of my little brother because of the things I would get up to and want to do when I'm high, where she felt like she had to make a choice between which child does she save and which one does she let go of. But initially that morning I already walked about 20 kilometers because I wanted to try and get help, go to a rehab, spend some time calling. There was no place for me to go to that could take me in.
He literally just vanished. We tried to call him and stuff, and he had literally vanished. And that's when I think he moved to PE at the time. And then he sent me a text when he was that side to say, look, I know I just vanished, but it's because I'm trying to, sort out my life, and I'm actually a drug addict. So that's when he came clean.
She pushed, and gently, but she pushed.
To see his father as him, as himself.
Let's learn from one another. Let's go. Let's learn from one another. Let's
go. I took myself to rehab, and when these substances were no longer there to assist me in subduing what I was feeling, depression took over me. It kind of exploded in a way. All the things I've been suppressing, all the unhad conversations and so many other things and emotions that I didn't express, so much that it took me to a hospital. The doctor said I had a voluntary spasm. It means that the thoughts and the things that the space I'm in my head is what took me there. I got engaged after I got married, and when the breakup happened, I went into really deep, dark depression. And when I started, going back and thinking about my children and the things that I put them through, that took me also to huge depression. And so anxiety really stems from avoiding to heal, avoiding to deal, avoiding to come face to face with these emotions that I've just expressed now, and it crippled me.
Then we reconnected again, and that's when he reached out to say he needs help.
Mastangana, we kind of really were both tired of pretending and tired of everything, so we kind of were open and honest to each other, just the way we were. We didn't really care how it presented myself towards her.
He was like, look, I know you're a coach. I don't know how you're gonna help me, but I need help. I want to heal. I want to be okay. I'm tired of living like this.
She came over to my home and helped me get over certain aspects of things in my life. She literally held my hand through other aspects, and other ones she didn't literally let go of my hand and said, no, you need to walk through this by yourself. So she's been remarkable in that sense. There's one event which I can recall with Nzalama where she actually fought me on it to make sure that it happens, was to spend a day with my son. She pushed, and gently, but she pushed, and she guided me there because it was a place of anxiety for me. It's a place of hurt for me.
I think him having a non-present dad made him become a bit distant to his kids. I needed that gap to come together for my own sake.
And she understood my anxiety and my hurt and my pain. She saw through my ego, and she still loved me enough to say, let's go.
By meeting his kids, I'm meeting him more. I'm getting to know him a bit more, and tribe and family are very important values for me, and I wanted to share that with him.
Even though when nakhona tingamphathi kahle, wabona ukuthi she's not bearing this as a woman because it's a responsibility, but befuna ukuthi ngifike la ngikhona njengamanje.
So what came out was that the narcotics were just really a symptom of a deeper issue, which was the fact that he didn't have a father figure present, and he had an identity crisis. And therefore, when he was living the type of life it was basically to just reach out, and it was a cry for help, basically.
There was also a time where I would help in the form of exercises, because I am a coach, and in terms of being an intuitive spiritual guide, where I would share exercises with him, whether it was breath work, whether it was certain music for meditations.
She also introduced me to that my father wound is the source of my pain, or the source of all of this mess. She kind of helped navigate through that. Without her, I was not going to be able to kind of start that journey. That's why it's important whether the father is alive or not alive. But if there's that connection, if there's that acceptance and warm, that is sufficient. Like, I'm not blaming him I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying he needed to be accountable for his role, like I'm accounting for my role in my own life.
I believe Lunga has gotten over the fact that his father was absent. And I think he's gotten over this because he's understood himself and why he was hurt. And by virtue of understanding and also forgiving himself for the things that he did, not necessarily to his dad, but to himself and to other people, he has been able to build compassion for his father and to see his father as him, as himself.
My journey of healing has been a very long one, very long, hard, tough, and lonely one at times in the beginning. But of late, my journey is taking me across Africa. My journey of healing is taking me across Africa. I found cycling in PE, and I found a newfound strength within myself. So I started this campaign of cycling across. I wanted to fight for gender-based violence because I felt some association with abuse and help other people to heal. Not realizing that everything that I was trying to do under my organization of Right Abuse was literally kind of looking at me. You know, I speak about his identity and her dignity. I didn't know who I was. So I had to go through the rediscovering of who I am. First, I just destroy who I thought I was and learn who I am. So my journey of self-discovery has not been an orthodox one, but now, 2020, it's kind of really moved into a streamline. I don't want to keep all of this inside of me now. There's no more shame inside of me. So I can express my truth and live in my truth and my reality and not be consumed by it and want to run away from it. That's where I am in my healing now.
So healing is very important to an individual. And I speak this in the larger context. We are all broken in one way or another. So also healing, you bleed on other people. That's the thing. So like, let's think about it physically. If lotolaga logobech and I come to you and I sit in your house and I don't even have a bandage on or anything, then when I leave, my blood is there, right? So it's the same thing. If you haven't healed, what you do is then you bleed on others. And that's why when you find yourself with, like with some people, out of the blue, and you're like, what's happening? Why are you being harsh or whatever? It's because something so they start projecting the pain. So that's what I mean by saying if you don't heal, then you bleed on people. So it's very important to do the healing.